Welcome to National Day, 50 years of achievements. Now the UAE has reached 50 years, and in 2020 the ruler of UAE, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, mentioned that this will be the year of the 50th, where they will celebrate the achievements that have been done so far, look at the vision and what has been implemented due to the founding fathers' visions, and to encourage those who call UAE their home, their country, to look at the future and see what it holds, and to strive to continue with the wonderful growth, remarkable journey in fact, that the UAE has seen over the last 50 years. A journey that in reality, if we compare to so many other nations around the world, or people of such a young age of only 50 years, we cannot see any other country pretty much that has achieved so much in such a short period of time, with only being 50 years old. And to commemorate this, a 500 dirham coin has been issued on the occasion of the 50th year. Join us today as we hear more about the wonderful achievements of the first 50 years of the UAE. So just to recap how it all started. They met like tribal chieftains, Bedouin style, in a simple tent in the desert at a place that marked the border of their two domains. When it was over, a momentous decision had been made on the strength of a simple handshake. The Emirates of Abu Dhabi and Dubai would come together as one people and one country. It was February the 18th, 1968, when Sheikh Zayed, ruler of Abu Dhabi, and Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed, ruler of Dubai, reached a formal agreement that would bind them together and lead to the formation 3 years later in 1971 of the United Arab Emirates. In 1976, a university was established and founded by the President Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, and the university's first academic year started in 1977 to 78 with an enrollment of 502 students. In 1979, the world-famous Dubai Trade Center was opened by Queen Elizabeth II. In 1981, the Gulf Cooperation Council, known as the GCC, was formally launched in Abu Dhabi, hosted by Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, President of the UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi, and around the table were heads of states from the other 5 Arab Gulf states, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The leaders agreed the broad agenda of a closer economic and security cooperation, which was taken forward when the Unified Economic Agreement between the GCC countries was signed on November 11, 1981 in Riyadh. In 1982, we see that the new Abu Dhabi International Airport begins its operations, and in 1985, Emirates Airline launched the first ever Emirates flight, EK600, which took off from Dubai to Karachi. In 1996, we see that Dubai hosts the world's richest horse race, the $4 million Dubai World Cup. And in 1999, Burj Al Arab, the first ever, known as the first ever 7-star hotel, opens in Dubai. In the year 2000, the Dubai financial market is officially inaugurated. And also in the same year, we see that Dubai Internet City opens, becoming a hub in the Middle East for internet and technology. In 2003, we see both Air Arabia launching operations with its inaugural flight from Sharjah International Airport to Bahrain, as well as Etihad, designated as the national airline of the UAE, is formally launched with a ceremonial flight from Abu Dhabi to Al Ain. At 2004, Sheikh Ahmed bin Hassan Al Maktoum became the first Emirati to win a gold medal at the 2004 Olympics in Athens for the double trap event. And in 2009, we see the achievement of the Dubai Metro being launched by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum as the world's longest automated driverless train system and the first metro in the Gulf region. In 2010, we see the world's tallest tower, Burj Khalifa, opens in Dubai. And in January the 28th of 2010, the 10 billion historic Maidan Grandstand and Racecourse, home to the world's richest horse race, is inaugurated in Dubai. 2013 we see Shams 1, the world's largest solar power plant located at Medina Zayed, was inaugurated by His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The UAE always aspires and strives and is the pioneer in many scientific, technological and achievements, world outstanding achievements. So it's no surprise then that in 2017 His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum announced that there would be an artificial intelligence strategy that wants to implement and make the UAE the pioneer, the world's leader in technology, education, all the things that you can think of in life that will be revolving around artificial intelligence. And in fact, he named Sultan Al Ulama, a 27-year-old Emirati national, to be the world's first ever Minister of Artificial Intelligence. Just another example of the achievements that the UAE has reached over 50 years and the achievements it aims to strive for in the next 50 years under its 2071 plan. There was also the appointing of a female Minister of Happiness. UAE is all about equality and does not matter what your gender is, and so Uhud bin Khalfan al-Rumi was appointed the UAE's first ever Minister of Happiness in 2016 and has the responsibility to use her powerful position to promote and sustain happiness and positivity throughout the Arab state. Now the UAE has been named as the most generous country in the world, donating 1.26% of its gross national income to development aid around the world, always from the pioneers to help the needy and developing countries. 2014, the UAE announced the creation of the UAE Space Agency to supervise the Mars mission and launch the UAE Space Agency. And the UAE established its first space agency with an objective to launch a probe to Mars. Announcing the exciting project, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, the Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, tweeted at the time that the UAE hopes to send the first Arab spaceship to Mars by 2021, signing a deal with NASA. The country will work together with them to achieve their goals to reach Mars, which we know they did in 2021, reaching Mars for the first time in February with its Hope probe. Also we see in 2018, Khalifa Sat makes history as the first satellite built on UAE soil that reaches space. Also in the same year, the UAE passport jumped to #1 as the world's most powerful passport. With this historic achievement, the UAE passport holders are now able to gain visa-free entry to 167 countries worldwide, according to Passport Index. 2019, again on the subject of space, the UAE makes history with the launch of Hazza al-Mansouri to space. The first Emirati astronaut was successfully launched into space aboard the Russian spacecraft Soyuz MS-15 on Wednesday, September 25th at precisely 5:57 p.m. And we know, as mentioned, that the probe from the United Arab Emirates successfully reached Mars, earning the country a spot in a small group of spacefaring powers that have sent spacecraft to study the fourth planet from the Sun. And the UAE hopes that the mission will lead key discoveries on Martian weather patterns and catalyze a new science and technology sector as it looks to wean its economy from oil dependence. In 2021, the UAE has selected two new Emiratis to be part of its astronaut corps, including the Arab world's first female astronaut. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Vice President and Prime Minister of UAE, ruler of Dubai, announced on April 10th, 2021 that Noura al-Matrushi and Mohammed al-Mullah had been selected to be part of the country's astronaut corps. Of course, we're talking about the achievements of the UAE. We have to mention, we can't forget, the Expo 2020. The Dubai beating bids from other major, well-known, important cities in 2013, won the bid to host Expo 2020. And we've seen that since Expo 2020 started on the 1st of October 2021, we've actually seen around over 3 million visitors. And in fact, the Expo 2020, Dubai Expo 2020, is in fact the largest ever Expo. Again, another achievement of the UAE in the last 50 years. The global event is a 100-year platform where many of the world's important inventions were unveiled and launched. And when it was finally launched due to a delay because of the pandemic, this year in 2021, Dubai is in fact the largest ever Expo and has welcomed over 3 million visits since it began on October the 1st. Now, of course, when we talk about achievements in the UAE over the past 50 years, we have to, of course, mention Sharjah, where I am right now. And anyone who's been to Sharjah can testify how it has grown and progressed over the time, both in industry, business, tourism, education, astronomy, and its museums. And the list goes on. So we're going to continue to talk about in the next few parts of the show the achievements of Sharjah here in the National Day achievements of 50 years. It is noteworthy that Sharjah has witnessed 50 years of radical transformation in various fields, so there have been mega projects that have been implemented and billions have been allocated for them. Last year, His Highness Ruler of Sharjah inaugurated about 25 distinct development projects in various cities and parts of the Emirates for which billions of dirhams were allocated. The Emirate has made a giant leap by accomplishing and opening a package of development projects in various sectors such as education, culture, arts, astronomy, sports and entertainment, mosques, roads and infrastructure, environment, tourism, heritage and literature. Perhaps the most prominent projects are the opening of the Khurfa Khan projects. And as we mentioned before, the achievements and accomplishments of Sharjah is clearly known and for everyone to see. Just where I'm standing right now behind me are so many cultural, educational, tourist attractions as well. And Sharjah has become known for its heritage, its museums, its culture, its fine arts, its literature. And in fact, it was named as the cultural capital as well as the tourism capital. And anyone who comes to Sharjah clearly sees that there is so much achievements. And as well, we see so many achievements within the infrastructure, geological parks in Al Buhais, a really large and well-known geological park, and even simple things like a great infrastructure that we now see, a Kelba road which goes for 26 kilometers. So many achievements. I can only give you a small amount of them here today in this episode. It is one of the most prominent development, service and tourism projects adopted by the Emirate to develop the city of Kelba at a cost of 1 billion dirhams, in addition to the North Pasture project in the city of Zaid, the largest pasture in the Emirate. Also, we see that the King Fisher Lodge project was opened in the city of Kelba, which is a unique project in its nature and location. The city of Al Zaid is also considered a privileged location as 3 main and important roads pass through it, namely Khurfa Khan Road, Al Zaid Road and Ibn Hassan Road. It also witnessed the establishment of many projects, including the Zaid Market at a cost of 100 million dirhams, in addition to the Al Zaid Park project. Culture. Sharjah is known for its culture and won the title of Arab Tourism Culture for the year 2015, and it is distinguished by its many heritage features, such as the heart of Sharjah, the traditional historic area, and the other modern areas such as Al Qasba Water Canal and Al Majaz, as well as Al Noor Island, in addition to cultural landmarks from its many famous museums and heritage and historical attractions. But of course, when we talk about the achievements of Sharjah, we cannot forget the world-famous International Book Fair that's held here in Sharjah. This year was its 40th edition, and it was the largest ever. And in fact, it became the world's largest book fair, just another of the many achievements of Sharjah and of the UAE in general. It took place at the Expo Centre Sharjah this November and brought together more than 1,600 publishers from 83 countries and 5 million books. This year's event was the largest ever since the fair was established in 1982, and as mentioned, then got itself a place, as Sharjah Book Authority announced, as the world's largest ever book fair. Well, we've come to the end of today's episode. We just had a glimpse of the many achievements and accomplishments that the UAE has made over the last 50 years. And we pray, inshallah, that it will continue in such a prosperous way with the great vision and objectives and initiatives that have been put ahead for the 2071 plan. Thank you for joining me, and goodbye.